So this house was built in like 1920. The old window frames, and I got to replace some and fix others. This room is fine, but it doesn't have any blinds. Took the measurements already. I'll get some. So much today. But let's read from this book again. My Bible, this is the New International Version, but this one has chapter introductions. And they're interesting because they offer like an insight into like, hey, it's an introduction. What can I say? Let me just read the one for Hebrews. It's really interesting. Okay, so yeah, I realized I was about to read from the Bible, and I was all dirty from working all day. You can't go to church dirty, man. You can't read the book dirty. Like, it was the hard work inspired the sitting down and taking a breath, cracking a beer earlier, and then now doing this. But once I'm gonna start reading, I brush my teeth and everything, man. You gotta show respect. Right? Yeah, you go to a party. You go to a party with your friends. You take a shower. You brush your teeth. You go out anywhere. I mean, you kind of want to, like, you brush your hair at the very least, right? Why wouldn't you give God the same courtesy? If you open this book, you're going to church, man. Just saying. So, the introduction to Hebrews. Okay. Neither the author nor the audience of this book is specifically named, but the book itself reveals its nature and purpose. The recipients are Jesus-believing Jews who are in danger of falling away from the faith. They are likely in Italy, since the author passes on greetings to them from those who are from Italy, probably their friends who are traveling elsewhere. The goal of the book is to show the superiority of the final realities God has revealed in the new covenant compared to the temporary ones of the first covenant. Its readers are encouraged to respond to the threat of persecution by recommitting to the new reality brought by Jesus. The book alternates between teachings, reviews of Israel's history or the temple worship arrangements, and challenges based on these teachings. There are 4 teaching challenge pairs as follows. Jesus and the salvation he brings are greater than the angels in the salvation they announced in the laws of Moses, by the way. Jesus is our apostle, someone sent by God on a specific mission, and he brings us into greater rest and promised land than Moses and Joshua brought Israel into. That Jesus is a more effective high priest than the priests appointed by the law of Moses. And as God's faithful people have done throughout the ages, we must continue living in light of God's unseen heavenly realities and stepping out into faith. Through the Messiah, we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. I'll read the 1st through 4th. In the past, God spoke to our ancestors through prophets at many times and in various ways, but in these last days he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through whom also he made the universe. Spirit. The Son is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by his powerful word. After he had provided purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty in heaven. So he became as much superior to the angels as the name he inherited is superior to theirs. For to which of the angels did God ever say, "You are my son, today I have become your father"? Or again, "I will be his father, and he will be my son"? And again, when God brings his firstborn into the world, he says, "Let all God's angels worship him." And speaking of the angels, he says, "He makes his angels spirits, and his servants flames of fire." Really interesting. Good stuff. Good stuff. The last few years, I've been reading the Book of Lamentations. A Bible with an introduction like that is very nice. Kind of gives you an introduction as to what you're actually reading. Footnotes aren't always the best for people who's starting out. There are some Bibles out there, the New Testament, where you'll see certain verses, if you look in the New Testament, that are in like red or color coded, and oftentimes those are like the words of Jesus, and they've highlighted them for you so that you can have some context and understanding as to what you're getting into. Otherwise, it's kind of, you have to, you just have to be well versed. No pun intended. Take that breath right. But I like those introductions. Otherwise, it's kind of like you're reading Shakespeare, right? It can feel like that sometimes. The Book of Lamentations. I've been reading that for like 3 years now, like over and over again, because just for some reason it struck me as very, very, very poetic and so sad. Yeah, for about 3 years. I've been trying to figure it out. It's one of those, for me at least, it's one of those underrated books. A lot of people in North Carolina, for example, like that Old Testament or Revelation, and they just cherry pick. It's a culture thing. It's those other books that, yeah, that's what I'll do. I'm going to read the Book of Lamentations next for y'all. What parts of it I'll cherry pick. But only to get a point across. To maybe show you exactly. Well, I'll read it like I see it and explain it how I feel it. Because once you've gone through this book enough times and you've cared, I don't know, you learn to love deeply, I guess, right? God bless. All glory be to God.